Since the very, very beginning of Rishi Sunak's prime ministership, almost a year ago to the day since he entered office, the constant, well, problem of Rishi Sunak has been his complete and utter lack of spine. Because if anyone was to actually somehow save the Conservative Party and somewhat maybe try and ensure that it didn't lose the next election in like a complete landslide, Rishi Sunak would need to, first of all, grow a spine and go into and start some serious head cracking and knocking some heads together on in a really big way. Like, that is what he would need to do. He would need to start, getting his whips in order, making sure that they're, getting MPs in line, not just dropping threats, but actually follow through on them. If you do this, you're going to lose the whip. If you don't vote this way, which we've told you to do, you lose the whip. So there is generally a ton of stuff Sunak could do. He could even go, okay, I know you're on this committee. If you don't vote this way, I'll take you off the committee and replace you with someone else. There is a ton of stuff Rishi Sunak could do. And he has never done this. And one of the prime examples of someone who he should absolutely be bringing into line is Suella Braverman. And throughout his entire year in office, Sunak has been presented with a myriad of opportunities to bring her into line or just outright get rid of her. And he has not done that. And now Suella Braverman is presenting Sunak once again with the perfect opportunity for him to get rid of her. Will he? Something tells me I don't think he will. And we'll get into that in a moment, and why Suella Braverman is not only there in the first place, but why also Sunak just does not want to get rid of her. But before we do go getting into that, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. But also there is the Pony Club as well down below that you can join as well. And of course, there's the YouTube thank you button as well, which you can help support the channel with. And of course, you can also do that just by clicking the like and share buttons. And also leaving a comment down below. That all helps with the all algorithmical stuff. And like I say, that costs you nothing to do. So, as always, thank you very much to everyone who does help and support the channel. So, what's going on recently? Well, Suella's been on a bit of a spree recently, and her latest kerfuffle that she's caused is that she's gone out and said that the Met Police have not been tackling these Palestinian protesters correctly, in her view. And that if there were right-wing protesters doing this, that the Met Police would be cracking down on these protests instantly. And in doing that, she is making a culture war argument. She's trying to now say that the police are, quote, too woke to do their job. Even though she hasn't come out and specifically said that, that is what she is implying. And there's two trains of thought running along here. And the first one is that Suella Braverman is desperately trying to, for once, actually ignite culture wars in the UK. Now, as we've always said, whenever these culture wars have been imported from America, trying sort of the very same things, we have seen that it hasn't caught on. Despite many, of course, conservatives engaging in culture war arguments, it really has not lit the same fire that it lit in America. It is not driving conservatives to the polls in the same way that we saw initially in America. And of course, as we've also seen in America, these culture war arguments are also now failing to get Republicans to the polls and aren't, shall we say, the big vote winner that they seem to really think that they are. Because at the end of the day, as we've always said, sooner or later, you've got to have policy. And when we have seen, especially in America, these culture war policies be brought in, all of a sudden, people have realized, well, actually, that's a really bad policy. Why did we bring this in? So at the end of the day, it hasn't proved to be a wild success. But this is what a lot of people are now saying that Suella Braverman is trying to do, to ignite the culture war in the UK for good and try to permanently start the fire. That she's trying to show that, look, to especially to her sort of fellow conservatives, if you engage in this rhetoric, it will bring you electoral rewards. Because look, I'm saying it. Why aren't you guys saying it as well? You should join me in saying this, and we can all say it together. And then, of course, culture war stuff, and of course, we will reap some sort of electoral benefit. Now, of course, that's not what has been happening. Every single time she opens her mouth to try and start one of these culture war fires, it's very quickly put out by public reaction. Instead of public support, we see mass public condemnation. And the only people supporting her, you see, are things like GB News. Even Conservative Home tried, but desperately, in a bizarre article when Suella Braverman brought out banning of tents and saying that, being homeless is just a lifestyle choice. Henry Hill wrote an article defending Suella Braverman, saying that what she was saying was right. It was just a communication issue that was the issue. So yeah, try as they might, it doesn't seem to be working. But this seems to be what she's trying to do, to try and ignite these culture war arguments, maybe in an attempt to hopefully try and hang on to some conservative seats in a way. The other, of course, argument is that Suella Braverman is now desperately trying to get the sack. Because a lot of people have been pointing out for quite a while, including us on this channel, she wants to start her leadership campaign. She wants to be seen as the next natural leader of the Conservative Party, because if she can do that, that will serve her well in any upcoming Conservative leadership contest. So she wants to sort of quit the Home Secretary position, or at least get the sack, shall we say, rather than stand down, so that she can go and say, oh, look, I was sacked from my position for saying all these, quote, right and correct things that I was saying. I was just, quote, cancelled by Rishi Sunak. And now she can start her leadership campaign, start, going into the backbenchers and start that. And bear in mind, Priti Patel has been doing this. Priti Patel, as we've said, is someone who would throw their hat into the ring the next time there is a Conservative leadership election. How well she will do, we don't know, but she has been out there trying to sort of build a support base for her eventual run. Suella Braverman, now seeing this, is also wants to do the same thing, but she cannot do that while she is a member of the cabinet, because that is seen as a big no-no in Conservative circles. Even among her own fellow peers, it is seen as a big no-no. So she's desperate to get the sack. And now we have to ask the question, will Rishi Sunak actually grow a spine and do it? And as we've said before, the only reason Suella Braverman is there in the first place was that Sunak got Suella on side, and she brought the rest of the far right of the party over to back Sunak, meaning that they could now see off that Boris Johnson potential threat. And of course, that's what won Rishi Sunak the leadership race. And of course, her reward was the Home Secretary position. And of course, if she goes from that position, that could cause a whole furore about who gets that seat, who gets the replacement. If it's not someone from the right wing, that will also cause problems for Sunak. He doesn't want to do that. To be honest, the more Suella has been doing these things, the more and more people are saying she should get the sack, she should get the sack, she should get the sack. And now it seems that there are now Tory MPs who are now saying, because of her comments about the Met Police, they're losing confidence in her. She should get the sack. But Rishi Sunak doesn't want to do that because, well, she might start a leadership campaign, which might then be able to marshal enough letters of confidence or even marshal a vote potentially to see something like the budget be seen as a vote of confidence in Rishi Sunak, which could potentially get rid of him. There is a lot of possibilities that could happen in the next couple of months. Will it play out like that? Who knows? Like I say, we are crystal ball gazing at the moment. And I often feel when I do this, I should actually go out and get a crystal ball prop so I can just bring it in and just go, we're gazing into our crystal ball. um, but we'll see what happens. But yes, if you would like to help fund my crystal ball fund, like I say, there are links down below: the Patreon page, the Buy Me a Coffee link, the YouTube subscription, and of course, you can always just click the like and share button. So, as always, thank you very much for all your support that you guys show, and of course, we'll see you all next time.